What's the 3D effect in Scandal?
You take Scandal, and you have Power and Empire, but to answer your question, Scandal, it's a white man who can't marry a black woman because he's already married. There's the moral flaw right there. That's the devastation. And in many ways, it's the denigration also. Because the devastation is they can't have the relationship they want because they're both madly in love with each other. And the denigration is she's involved with someone who's cheating on his wife. And, you know, here's the President of the United States. He's not being very honorable. So there's two of the D's right there, denigration and devastation.
Black and white sex.
Black and white sex. Isn't that popular today, right? It's all over the place. I remember you had the production code started in 1930, and they codified do's and don'ts. 1934, they were enforcing the do's and don'ts. One of the do's and don'ts, number 6, there shall not be any sexual relations between a black and a white. They made that very plain. First and foremost, you got to realize that it's always been one of the main things the white man has wanted to do through the industry, through cinema, through literature, through anything. You never want to popularize the sexuality of the black man. And when you look at the heinous crimes that have been committed against black men, when you talk about lynching, not only did they string him up, but they cut his testicles. Okay, so there's something, you know, Francis Welsing goes into that deeply. But the thing is, the black man's sexuality, they've always wanted to tone that down. So anytime you had blacks on the screen, where you had it prominent for the first time was in Birth of a Nation. They wanted to project that image of the black man fiending for the white woman. And that's one of the things that helped to give rise to the KKK, because we're going to put these blacks in their place, and we're going to fight to make sure that we don't have, through interracial conjugation and mating, the mongolization of the white race. So you have a series of films, but there's always been this attempt to show it. And the first major film to deal with the issue of interracial sex was Pinky, 1949. But the way they can get away with it is by having a white actress, Jean Crane, play the part. What you have to understand is, yes, that's the way they can deal with it, because the audience, the catharsis for the white audience is, well, we know this is really a white woman.
What am I then? You tell me. You're the ones that set the standards, you whites. You're the ones that judge people by the color of their skin.
The thing is, you're still promoting the theme of black and white sex, which is problematical for people who don't want to see it. Mm-hmm. You follow what I'm saying? Because that film had issues that had to be censored, and it wasn't accepted in southern parts of the country. Right. And before that, you had a lot of people don't even realize one of the first depictions of miscegenation was Uncle Tom's Cabin, because Simon Legree was having a relationship as a slave master with his black wenches. Okay, so a lot of people don't know that, but that precedes a lot of films.
So there's what you call the 3D effect.
Okay, if you go and look from, let's say, the most popular film, because Pinky was a super success. If you look at the history of the depiction of interracial romance, mm-hmm. they have to do it in a certain way, and it just didn't start with blacks. They did it with The Last of the Mohegans, where you had the Native American and he loves the white woman, mm-hmm. but they both die. They jump off the mountain. But the thing is, my 3D effect is whenever you're going to have the depiction of black and white sexual relations, mm-hmm. they put in what I call the 3D effect. You have denigration, devastation, and destruction. One of those three or all of those. One or two of them or all of them. Denigration means what they would do is, for the white character, they would make it an immoral white character, okay? Birth of a Nation, the white character who has a mulatto lover, has got a club foot, okay? If you remember Mandingo, you remember Mandingo? Well, the guy who's in love with the part played by Brenda Sykes, you remember he had a limp, okay? That's the denigration.
Right, so you can't have a straight white Anglo-Saxon Protestant healthy white man in any kind of relationship.
No, because the thing is, the sensitivity is to the people who object to this image. They have to have something that makes it a cathartic way they can accept seeing it and deal with it, where they don't go buck wild, okay? You take 1965, Sydney does a film, A Patch of Blue. She's blind. The white girl is blind. You take when Jim Brown was one of the first to do it in major films. He did one called Kenner, where the white actress is playing an Indian, not a Native American, but an Indian from India. When he did Grasshopper, this girl has had sex all over the place, but when she finally decides to get with Jim Brown, he marries her, you know, and then she's killed. No, she's not. He's killed.
That's
Okay?
the destruction.
So that's the destruction.
I know the reason you go out with all those guys. It's so that you won't get involved with any of them, right? That way you won't get hurt.
I'm not like that. Yes, I am.
The devastation is, you even come to Spike Lee's Jungle Fever. What was the devastation? Well, devastation, when I say devastation, it means that they'll set up a situation where the relationship can't work. Why can't it work? Well, it's not going to work because Wesley Snipes' character, he's a married man, right? He's just experimenting. But he doesn't really want to break up with his wife. So this ain't something he wants to really get into. He just gets into it. That's the devastation, right? Then the other thing is he can't even go on a date, even Sylvia's in Harlem, without catching hell, right? That's devastation. Devastation is they'll have the relationship. You take 1964, One Potato, Two Potato. Brilliant movie, wonderful movie, realistic movie, based in reality. You take Bernie Hamilton, who played the part. He's a light-skinned black. That's also important. He's a light-skinned black, and he's not appearing with a white woman who's actually what you call a hot actress. But the thing is, he marries her. What's the devastation? Here's the other thing they show. He didn't marry a virgin. She was divorced. Her white husband comes up and doesn't want their daughter to grow up in a black family. And now he wants his daughter back. That's the devastation, the pain she has to go through just being married to a black man, and the racism.
Petition of the plaintiff is awarded. Permanent custody of the child is awarded to the child's father, Joseph Cullen. Visitation rights to be arranged between parents.
And the destruction, give a couple examples of that.
Well, destruction, you take, for example, you get back to Sidney Poitier. He falls in love with Joanna Shimkus, who he later married in real life. But they have a relationship. They both get killed in the end.
Mm. Well, take a recent movie like Black or White. There's no necessarily on-screen romance there, but it does follow a lot of the same tropes.
Well, what's the destruction? You take Black or White, Kevin Costner's Black or White. The destruction is, first of all, you never see the relationship on screen, But obviously, if the white woman is not there, what happened to her? She died. There's the destruction.
So there's a destruction right off the bat, and so she's punished. There has to be some sort of punishment for these types of
yeah,
relationships.
because you know,
to take
first of all, you have the imagery, and now you know for something that was number 6 on you can't have it. All of a sudden we have a sense that we're being inundated with the imagery. You take Focus recently, Focus with Will Smith. Well, some people say, well, where are the 3Ds with that? Well, how did he meet this girl, this white girl? You know, so what's she doing to make, and she's ripping people off because she's got a white guy coming, they run that old game, oh, you with my old lady and all this, and you don't have to pay off. So she's a con artist. There's the moral flaw, okay? So I say all this to say this. We get images, but people have to be very mindful and very aware that what we get, there's been a filter. There's a politicking. There's a propagandistic role it serves. And we're not just getting anything that's up there that they haven't looked at and fine-tuned it so that the wrong message doesn't come across, where they're really endorsing something that they don't want to endorse. See? So like, I'm saying, what are the socio-political consequences of these images when we see empire and power? Why is the black woman being kicked to the curb and the black man who was helped to get on top with the black woman, he's fiending? If they don't give him a white woman, they give him a Latina type. It's biracial. What's that all about? Are we really saying, oh, Hollywood's reached the point where they're saying this no longer matters? No. They're throwing it out there because it's something they want to say is popular. But in throwing it out there, it's causing debates, it's causing division, and it's also promulgating what they've always wanted to promote. White over black. You see, if I reject a black sister, a dark sister, for a white woman, that's white over black. Okay? And as I said before, when we look at the test, the doll test, and the results are the same, when we look at skin bleaching that's popular in Africa, and people, Serena Williams is like 3, 4, 5 shades lighter than she was when she first came on the scene, when they had those Pickaninny hairdos and stuff like that. When Sammy Sosa looks like Michael Jackson, you know, where's all this coming from? Because nothing's changed. That projection of white over black is still there. My name is Charles Woods, and you're watching Reelblack.